Hi.
Hey, Daniela.
Hi. Hi again, David.
Isn't it incredible? I get to be here in Kosice.
Yes.
I'm saying that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we are very happy that you are here and we can have a wonderful conversations about deep and important topics.
Yeah.
And this one will be about body shame and body image
Yes.
in a mostly female psyche.
Yeah.
And you also are author of the book You Can't Judge a Body by Its Cover, which I think is revolutionary piece of yours on this topic. So I would love to get into this with you.
Yeah. So tell me, what moves you about the book? Because I know you said, I want to make this book translated.
Yes, and we did actually.
And you
and
did?
it is already printing and will be on the market very soon, which I consider our biggest achievement of this year, because it's a very, very important piece for women all
Yeah.
around. So,
What moved you to do such
Yeah.
a thing?
and what moved me was when I read the book, what was very touching for me was how you were interested in a person and their impulses, and you followed them and didn't pathologize their eating habits or their appearances, or you didn't promote some kind of ideals or systems to fix themselves. You were just trusting the person, and you follow them to their powers, to their hungers, to their energies, and to what is true for them, and to their yeses and nos. And those are really, really powerful stories of 17 women who somehow struggled with the topic of body shame and maybe eating disorders or size of the body or everything that is related for female psyche, considering this topic. So I think it's a masterpiece, and every woman who will get her hands on it will have a very healing experience reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big privilege to be able to hear their stories, to have them on to share with me as a man person too, and then I get to tell their stories, what I call the inside story, not just the outside story of what I do that people might not like, but the what's going on inside in that story.
So how is your approach different from maybe some mainstream paradigm which treats eating disorders or maybe body image issues? How do you think it differs from what's usually used?
I mean, the main thing in my unshaming way is I think people do things because of an expression of their intelligence. And then I always have to make that distinction. Doesn't mean it's good to eat whatever, 7 hamburgers in a day or French fries every day, but it means that the hunger for the thing is intelligent, or the way the body responds is intelligent, meaning it has meaning. It's not, people don't do things because something's wrong with them. People do things because there's an intelligence that doesn't know how to express itself. Yeah, so that's the main difference. So if a person's eating something and thinks they should stop eating it, then rather than say, how do we stop you from eating that, as my first goal, my goal is to say, I wonder what's so good about that. Because in any time a person tries to stop a strong habit, the idea is we should overcome the habit without knowing what is that habit doing. And I might be doing something that I think and everyone thinks is terrible, but I'm still doing it. Why? Well, you haven't learned, you're stupid or whatever. But there's a big power in people that say, I don't care, I'm going to keep going. And so that gets me excited. What keeps you to do it?
Yeah, because you point out very well that there are two forces. The one is that saying you are not allowed to do that, you should stop, you are bad for doing it. You are hurting yourself, it's unhealthy and so on. And there is the other part which says, I don't give a shit, I'll do it anyway. And this part is not known well enough for the psyche, for the person, or for the society even. And you somehow live this side up to show itself and to get the real message, what's the whole situation about. And maybe you can tell us some story from the book which touched you deeply and show us what's unshaming about in this kind of topic.
My favorite story to make that exact point is a woman says, I may get certain little details different because I may not remember the exact moments in the book, but she says there was diabetes in her family line, and that she was too big and eating too much, and she needed to stop, but she wasn't able to. And I said, have you been in various programs? More than you know. 3 decades of programs, she said. So I said, okay. So now some people would think she needs the right program. Now if somebody's done one program and it didn't work, try another. If someone's done 2 programs, didn't work, try another. At some point you think no program is going to do it, right? Because it's not like the wrong program. It's not working, right? So what do you do in your last program? Well, I decided that I needed to diet and I was going to drink more water. So I'm having a lot of water and I'm getting full from water rather than food. And I'm going to eat more salad as opposed to whatever else I'm going to eat. So that's the rule. So I said to her, okay, let's do an experiment. I'm going to be your diet program, right? My diet you should drink water and you should eat more salad. That's the program, right? I'm going to represent that part. And I said, let's see what happens, right? So I said, you should drink more water and eat more salad. And she laughs. I said, what's so funny? She said, every time I begin to diet, I go to the store and buy chocolate. Now, some people would think that's crazy, neurotic, whatever.
Yeah.
I love those details.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. Like, it's amazing in that that's an interesting response.
To a diet.
Like, it's like diet, And it's like some people would think, well, that's the stop her from doing that. But I think, again, like if you're studying an animal, like when you do this to it, it hoards away its food. Like, what's it doing?
Yeah.
It's such a fundamental, isn't it? It's so fundamental. What are you doing? Like, I want to know, right? So I said, okay. And then I said, chocolate. I said, what's so good about chocolate? And she cracks up. She says, I don't even like chocolate. Now I'm really think this is great.
Fascinating,
like, right? It's like you go on a diet, you eat something that you shouldn't eat, and you don't even like it. Like you're not saying, I just love potato chips. Yeah. And so I just can't, I know I shouldn't eat them, but I like them so much I can't stop myself. She says, I'm going to do something even if I don't like it.
Yeah.
Now, you can already, if people are free, they can already start thinking about that, especially like a child. Make me do something. I'll do something that I don't even like just to say, screw you. I'm not right. I don't care if I like it or not. I'm going to go do it, right? Clean up your room. I'm going to go make a mess of it. Do I want a messy room? I want to say, screw you, right?
Yeah.
Can you follow? You have to understand, not a lot, a child, nature. You understand nature without pathologizing.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? What are you crazy? Are you a weirdo? So and then she says, but I know I should drink water and have salad. I said, okay. So we understand something important. When I say go on the diet, she goes to get something even if she doesn't like it. It goes against the diet, and liking it is not important, right? That's what her nature, that's what we're studying her, right? Not what you should do. I say, I'm going to continue with the diet program. You can't have chocolate. You have to have salad and water. She said, well, I'll have a little bit of chocolate, right? Now, I'm the diet program. No, that's stupid. You don't even like chocolate?
Yeah.
Salad, water. She's like, I don't want to do that. Doesn't matter. Diabetes, you're going to have health problems. You're going to be big. And who's going to like you?
Yeah.
Salad and water. She says, I said, eat the salad and water. She says, no. No is a big word.
Wow.
No is a big freaking word. If people don't know that, you have to know. No is a big word, right? Children know it, and you have to learn it. Otherwise, no goes in the bucket, and you're not allowed to say it for all kinds of things. She says no, and I say yes. She says no, I say yes. She says no. And now I'm getting excited, she's getting excited. And I say, what's so good? You're so happy saying no to me, right? She's saying no to the diet program.
Yeah.
She's putting herself on it and saying no to it. Now we're finding out the inside story. Inside, something says do something, and she says no, and it makes her happy because she's happy doing this with me, right? So I said, what's so good about saying no? And she said, I never get to say no. I'm thinking about the earlier thing we talked about. She's a single mom. I don't want to say no to my kids because they're not getting what they need enough. I can't say no to my job because I don't want to lose my job from my boss, and I can't support my kids. So you have the whole gender issue and a mother issue, right? So I'm not have freedom to say no, but I can say no in one place. No to salads. I can put myself on a diet and say no to it. This is great.
Fascinating.
I call that yoga.
Yeah.
It's a yoga. It's a practice.
No.
It's a stretch. So I say, tell me more about no. Teach me about the word no. And she said, if you can't say no, you're not even alive. You're not even here yet.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, can you see why
the no is so important?
saying no is so, you're not even alive, you're not even here, but you're going to get diabetes. I'm not even here if I can't. I may die in 2 years, but I'm dead if I can't say no in my life. And then why eat something that she doesn't like? Because her story doesn't say, I need to go after what I want. Somebody could say, I'm going to eat the chocolate because I love chocolate. That's a person saying, I'm going to go after what I'm hungry for. This person says, it's not about what I'm eating. It's about saying no to you. I don't care if I don't like it. I don't care about pouring the water on me. I don't like it. You don't want me to do it. I'm going to do it because that's my freedom.
Wow.
I'm talking about being me. I don't care about the chocolate. So her system picks the perfect thing. And here's the interesting thing for me about unshaming. She doesn't know that. She doesn't know she's practicing
saying
no over and over and found a place, a little subculture inside of her world where she can practice. She doesn't know that. She doesn't know that because no one's ever looked at her through unshaming eyes and said, I think you might be doing something interesting and intelligent and meaningful. I want to understand you. Yeah.
Wow. Profound.
It's profound. Yeah.
Subculture, when she can practice what is not allowed anywhere else.
Yeah. People practice.
In her psyche.
And then they think.
inner world.
Yeah. And then they think, this is a bad practice. Without knowing what the practice is, right?
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing yet, but this is a bad practice. And then there's plenty of people around. This is where I get angry. If I were free to be upset, as I really am inside, I'd be like, you idiots. Stop telling people what to damn do and find out. It didn't take long. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe maximum. It doesn't take long if you say, what are you doing? As if you're a beautiful, interesting, intelligent human being. As opposed to somebody who needs your stupid freaking answer that doesn't work anyway. Okay, sorry, I just want to scream sometimes. I'm
Perfect.
Yeah.
What do you think, how successful are traditional ways of approaching health or body image or weight industry or addictions or something like that?
When I was writing my book, which started, I don't know how long ago, 15, 20 years ago or something like that. So I haven't read research in the last years, but I read over 200 studies, and many books, but studies, researching. And I can tell you, when people decide, even in a study, I'm going to study, I will decide to go on a diet. After 1 year, 45% of the people are heavier than they started.
45 people.
45%. 50% have not changed. Most people can change within 3 weeks. You could try to fast and not eat and cut out a meal and drink water for some days or a few weeks, or maybe right before the summer, before you're going to put your bathing suit on. People can do a very short-term thing. But 45% are less of the goal, right? They're heavier. 50% of the people, no change. 5% of the people have achieved the goal that's sustained within 1 year. So it's a $70 billion industry that has almost no effect. Think of this. You say, I'm sick. Here, buy my pill. Half the time it's going to make you sicker. Half the time it's going to do nothing. more
Yeah.
except 5%, right?
Yeah.
And but there's a tiny little chance it'll help, right?
Yeah.
That drug would be. So why do people buy it?
Yeah.
Why do they buy it?
And why the culture promotes it as something useful or
Yeah.
something functioning.
Yeah. The industry banks on shame. It says, I can make money on you feeling bad about yourself. And if you don't do the diet right or you gain weight, you'll feel worse about yourself, and I can bank on that. And it's good that it doesn't work. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not saying anybody's specifically thinking that. They may or may not, but they make money off of that. The system works very well. Try this, it won't work. Try this other thing, it won't work. Try this other thing, and it won't work.
I heard you said a sentence once that 97% of the women have everyday hateful thoughts about their body.
Yeah. One of the things, when I did research to do that book, not just researching other people, but I gathered people together and I interviewed them over time and learned the things I learned. And so everybody, men and women, but in this case it was women. By the way, I didn't originally intend to study only
I
women.
know.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
I wanted to just learn about people. So I was teaching in university and I put up a piece of paper. Anybody want to participate in a study on body shame and eating and stuff? And guess how many men signed that piece of paper?
Very, very little number.
0.
Wow.
0. 21 women originally. I added more at the study, and 0 men. Now, years later, I realized my mistake. First, what I didn't do wrong. The culture, women have much more pressure. This is how you look, I'm studying you. A man is heavy, they think, oh, he's fine. Women is heavy. It's not the same look. So gender, sexism, the way people value women's bodies looking a certain way, that's really important. But later on, I realized if I had spoken about that study differently, I might have gotten more men. Just talking about body image and stuff, that's not the language to appeal to a man.
Yeah.
I just wasn't thinking about the language at that moment. So anyway, just my learning over time. Anyway, so back to where we were. Oh yeah, the 90%, 7%. So every single woman, I said, do you have voices in your head or an opinion about your eating and your body? Yes. What's your opinion? Well, I'm a little heavy, I'm kind of fat, it would be better if I didn't eat this. It doesn't sound too bad. It's not pleasant to have it in your head. You're not very attractive, you're not very pretty. That's not going to be good for you. That's going to make you fat. So in every one of them, I would say, imagine I'm you with your body, and you are that voice criticizing me. I say, go ahead and criticize me. Well, you shouldn't be eating that. And I say, criticize me the way it feels inside of you.
Yeah.
Well, you're not very pretty. The tone starts changing. Keep going. Tell me what you really think. You're in there anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to say words that are provocative, but people have them in their heads. Because what's in people's heads and when women's heads are around their body, it's not like, oh, sweetheart, maybe you don't need that tonight. That's not what's going on inside there. People may say it that way, but what they're really meaning is other things, like, you're ugly. No one's going to love you. So many people said, no one's going to ever love you. Whoa. Doesn't that break your heart? No one's going to ever love you? Like, can you imagine like saying that to a child or somebody who is vulnerable to that? Yeah. And it's like, where do people get off giving a message? No one's going to ever love you. You're fat. You're disgusting. Don't ever walk outside. Don't speak up anywhere because people will look at you. You're undisciplined. We shouldn't hire you for work because we know you can't take care of yourself. You can't take of anything. You wouldn't be able to take care of anything. As a man, I could be heavy. I could be a CEO. A woman, well, if you can't take care of your body, how are you going to run a business? But they don't say that to Donald Trump. He looks like a big character with lots of belly. Anyway, so the voices are vicious. Yeah.
Very cruel.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that like big-bodied characters in the fairy tales are always portrayed as villains?
Huh.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
Because like the beauty character or the good
Oh, yes,
characters
yes,
are
yes.
slim or anything, but
Yeah.
the big-bodied characters are always somehow.
Yeah. In the conventional telling of the fairy tales.
Yeah.
Because in the earlier telling, it wasn't like that. Different people who were super small, people who were giants, people who were big and round, those were allies.
Yeah.
In the original stories. Like, oh, you better talk to that little gnome character, the little pudgy thing, because they have the key to the gate.
Yes, and they
But-
had some special powers.
And they had powers. In the cleaned up, the current versions are cleaned up.
Yeah.
And it makes everything, you
Yeah.
know, you kiss the frog and the frog's gonna kiss you and everything's gonna
Yeah.
go great. It's more
Yeah.
like, you know, Sleeping Beauty wakes up by giving her the prince comes and wakes her up.
Yeah.
But in the original, that prince doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There's mostly dead people in that story.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Oh my
We
God.
lose track. Do you know the
And-
original story of you know, what people in English they call Sleeping Beauty?
Original? No.
Yeah.
Tell me.
It's called Briar Rose. It's English. Briar Rose means the rose bushes. You know what a rose bush is like? It's full of thorns.
Yeah.
Right? And the witch, I'm going to tell the whole story, it'll take too long. The witch puts everybody to sleep, including the princess. Right? The witch casts a spell. And now, in the early stories, the witch wasn't a bad thing. The witch was a feminine power. Right? That had power. It wasn't like, you know, ooh, you're a witch, it's bad.
Yeah.
Right? She says, you aren't doing it right. I'm putting you all to sleep for a while until you learn. And the spell will be for 20 years, she says. 20 years. Different stories to tell, different. I think it's 20. I read once it was 40. And then a prince comes on his horse, right? Krum, 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 krum. He's going to get through to Sleeping Beauty. But he has to get through the rose patches, which have been growing for years, and the thorns are like all over the place.
Wow.
And he tries to get through there, dies bloody on the briar bushes.
Wow.
And the next one comes, drum, 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 bloody, impaled on the briar bushes. And everyone that comes is just a bloody, dead mess. He doesn't come, sweetheart, you come on, you wake up. You know, They're all bloody messes. And then, right? Because the witch says, no, not so fast. You don't have.
You don't have
prince.
the
That's right.
qualities to enter.
Exactly.
This
You think
phase.
you're a prince? We'll just leave you a bloody prince mess, you know? Bloody prince, right? One prince comes along and gets through the briar bushes to meet her. Is that the right one? Is he the hero of the story? Do you know when it happens?
No.
After 20 years.
Wow.
When the witch says it's time. Can you follow? Not when he's so perfect. as
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'll finally prove I'm the best.
Yeah.
No. The witch has been in control of the whole damn thing. Right? Anyway, I love that.
Yeah, perfect.
That
perfect.
detail.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. But just one more
yeah.
thing about body. You see, because some women, not all, we always have to make that distinction, but some women make a bigger body as a protective
yeah.
measure.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know I'm saying this because women taught me this. Right? I don't know it intimately, but I know it intimately because I've
Yeah.
learned it and empathized. Because many women would say, if I walk around in a bigger body, then men don't look at me in a certain way.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's painful for me, or I've been abused by men. I don't like being objectified. There's a lot of sexual issues that I've had because of my life. I don't want to be looked at as a sex object. And if I'm bigger,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen. Can you see the briar rose bush?
Yeah, definitely.
You try to get through this,
No,
you're going to
no.
die,
Yeah.
right? I don't love that I have this, right? I think these briar bushes are bad. I should be open and let the prince come in. But this thing is doing something. It's saying, baby, you don't get through. And one way of making you not get through is you don't look, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, definitely. This
yeah.
is the huge topic. This not wanting to be looked at certain way from men, and
Yeah.
Even if there was some kind of sexual violence during the childhood or even in teenage years. This is a huge, huge thing
It's
in
a
the
huge
psyche.
thing. Yeah, there's an incredible book by a African American professor, woman. Her name is Roxane Gay, and she wrote a book called Hunger. And Roxane was huge, like not whatever people call a little heavy. Like I know I'm bad with kilos, but probably 175, 200 kilos, like that, literally, like 400 plus pounds, big. And she wrote a book, and at the beginning of the book, she says, I'm not gonna show you before and after pictures. Here I am, and then she said, and here I am with both of my new thin legs in the one leg of the jean. I'm not gonna show you that picture, right? Remember, here I am, I did diet program 17. Here I am, like, right? I'm not gonna show you that picture. And she said, and I'm not gonna show you a picture of a woman who used to hate herself, who now loves herself even when she's big. Positivity, great thing. So I'm not going to show you that picture either. I used to hate myself as a big, I'm still big, but now I love myself. She said, I don't only love myself. She said, but I'm going to tell you the story that I have, a before and after story. It's a before rape as a child and after rape.
Wow.
I want to tell you that before after story. Phew. Yeah. It makes me cry. It makes me cry because that's the story if you tell the before and after, I'm skinny now, if you tell the before and after, I love myself now, you don't tell the rape story. And the culture doesn't want to hear the rape story. They want to hear how it got better.
Discipline story.
Yeah, the discipline story.
Yeah.
I'm happier now. Buy my program. I used to be miserable. Now I'm happy. But she doesn't get to say that. What does she get to say? I used to not be me. Now I'm me. It's not only easy. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes I don't like myself. Didn't you make that all go away? I didn't. Then I think, that's a real thing. She's not snake oil, do you know that? She's not promising snake oil, smoke and mirrors. She's promising a life being you. And that life being you is not an easy life for her as a black woman, a queer black woman, for you as a woman here in Cosicha, for me as whatever. It's not only going to be easy. I don't want to fool you. I don't want to treat you like an idiot who I can make it all better. I want to treat you to have dignity, to be yourself, even though it's not going to be easy, and to tell your story and let people know who you are. Whew. I call that a love story.
Wow.
That book, that's a love story.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And from your experience, from what age we as women start to somehow notice our body and starting to compare it to some standards, or what's your research shown?
So young. I mean, the research that I know about, but I'm going to tell you some things that I think connect. But we know that by 10 years old, 80% of girls are measuring their bodies, comparing their bodies, and trying to not eat to manage that.
Wow.
Now that's different from, I want to be healthier. I'm not talking about wanting to be healthier. I'm talking about, I look in the mirror and I think I have to be a certain way for people to like me, for the boys to like me, to compete with the other girls so I will be prettier than them, right? The whole competition, that all that happens. But we know from other research, by 4 or 5 years old, people are looking in the mirror through a set of eyes that see them as pretty or not. Very quickly, by 4 or 5 years old,
Wow.
you can ask 4-year-old girls, are you pretty? And many of them will not know. Many of them will cry and have other experiences.
Wow.
Yeah. Especially if you're from a marginalized community.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes, that's a very, very important point. Because there was a social experiment where there were white girls, little girls, and like brown girls,
Yes.
and African American, but like really from Nigeria and so
Yeah.
on. And they were showing a picture of the same like girl or something, but one was white, one was brown, one was really dark. And they asked them, all of them, which one do you think is pretty? And all of them showed the white girl. Which one do you think is ugly? And all of them showed the dark one. Or which one do you think is stupid? And all of them showed the dark one. And it's like, and it was kindergarten.
And the interesting thing is, well, that's incredible. That is the interesting thing. But another detail about that is, lost my thought. Nobody had to say to those 4 and 5-year-old girls, this is pretty, this is not. Right? So people think, oh yeah, somebody told me a terrible thing, or somebody called me a bad name. It's the air you breathe. It's so fundamental in every image, every magazine, everything, that these girls absorb that. All of us, we absorb it. So I know the answer to those questions. No one ever had to tell me that. No one had to say, you're not pretty because you don't have that skin. Nobody has to say that. Nobody has to teach me that.
But I know.
But I know 100% of the time exactly what's true. That's already in. Even if the family is trying to protect.
Okay, and one more thing, what is interesting, because we touched the topic of eating and food, and what about exercising, for example? Because there's like some fitness program, let's say, that, okay, you should, I will exercise for, I don't know, 3 times a week, and so on, or any other program. And there is also a resistance to that in those, in this topic. So what's your experience with that? Or can you tell us some story from the book, maybe, with that?
I mean, exercise is great, and we all know exercise is great. So, I mean, most of us, that we assume that that's fine, and you're bringing up the difficulty. If a person takes to the exercise, I love going, I started dancing, I love going dancing.
Perfect.
Great, go dance, I love going to the gym, I love boxing, I love biking, I love running, great. But if that doesn't happen, and the person says, I keep trying to exercise, but I don't. I need to exercise, but I should, but I don't. I want to, and I don't. I'm supposed to, and then it doesn't happen. That's a very common story, right? Then we know there are 2 forces. One that says it's good to do it, and then somebody doesn't do it. Remember, like the chocolate story? You should do it, but we all understand, we get it. You should not eat chocolate. But somebody doesn't. And the one we have to understand, not support, but understand who doesn't do it. Should we shame them? You're just an idiot. You should get over that. It's not going to help. Then the only thing we'll get out of that, shaming that person for not doing it, is they'll stop telling people they don't do it because they're embarrassed about it. So it doesn't help. The problem goes away from the eyes. So then we have to find out what is in there. And I'm thinking I know a bunch about that from stories, but I'm thinking about a woman I recently worked with that's going to be in my new book coming out in November. It's not this one. Buy this one. That one's going to take a while before it gets translated, right? She said, I'm trying to remember her words. She said something like, she was cursing. She said this, and I asked her tell me more about not wanting to do this, and she was like, I fucking hate what people telling me what to do, or this kind of thing, So, and the more we got into that, what's it like to hate that? Show me in your body. She's like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything that people want to, and she's got all this stuff in there, right? And that looked really good on her. So you get the same structure. The thing that's saying you should exercise for her and for many women and for many people is not only connected to your health. It's got other people snuck in there. Yeah, because you'll be prettier. Yeah, because you're an unhealthy person. You're undisciplined. Yeah, because we're not liking you. Yeah, because you should be ashamed of yourself for not keeping fit. It's mixed in there. And people are resisting that. That's intelligent to say, I maybe want to get healthier, but I'm not interested in doing what you tell me to do, because you would tell me to do a lot of things. Shrink away, serve everybody, ignore myself. This is just one more way to say shrink. I think I won't shrink. I think I'll do the opposite. So that energy's in there. She was doing more like that. And when we talked about exercise afterwards, she decided she's going to do some boxing.
Right? What a beautiful turnout.
Because she's like, put her on a bike. But she's like, I think I want to go kind of, and what's she going to box? She's going to box those people who mess around, her literal people, she's not going to hit actual people. Screw you, fuck you, I'll do what I want, right? That's a lot of her in her. So that energy might be able to be used, but because that's really living in her. Yeah, we have to see how long that takes. If this one takes over, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. People are trying to stand up for themselves against forces that have they internalized. And that's so missed. Because if you looked up diet, I want to go on a diet, or diet program, or weight loss on internet, you would get, I'm going to make it up, like 10 zillion pages. I don't know, but hundreds and hundreds of pages. And almost none of them will mention sexism. Almost none of them are going to mention women. Almost none of them are going to mention finding your power. Almost none of them are going to mention resistance to things in the way that it means it's strong. You? Yeah. Not in the way of like, you should get over that. Yeah. Almost none of them are going to, they're all going to be programs to overcome that power in you. Almost none of them are going to do that. And that's bad.
I have to share with something with you, because it just came to my mind from one of my sessions with my clients through Unshaming. The woman came, and I have a permission to tell this story because she was so thrilled, and she wants every woman to hear this. She came in with a cellulite, that she is not happy with cellulite because she thinks it's too gross for her age. And it doesn't look good, and she thinks it's not appropriate for her age, the state she has it. And we went through Unshaming that, okay, let's get to know your cellulite, what it's like, what it wants to do. And she told me, it wants to move. What do you mean move? And she didn't exercise, didn't take the diets and so on. So show me what he wants does, what he want to do. And the cellulite starts to move her butt from side to side, and it's very, very sexual, sensible movements. And she was like, "Oh my God, I cannot do this! I cannot do this!" And you can hear the shame, and it's so forbidden. And we were like, "No, come on, just show her. Let the cellulite be herself, and let her teach us." And she was like, "Oh my God, she knows what it's like to have a sex for your pleasure, no, not for men's."
Wow.
And she was experiencing it, and it was unfolding, and she was happy with herself and experiencing what it's like to be desirable, and what it's like to feel pleasure for herself, not to just give it away for someone. And all of things that, unfortunately, I won't get into too much details, but afterwards, she started dancing Hawaiian dances, which are all based on the hips movements and everything. And she started to do burlesque dance, which is very seductive, very, very beautiful, feminine dance. And she told me, I never exercised as much as I move now, because I'm doing what I am, really. Yeah. And
that's a great story.
And if we would treat her just like, oh my God, you have cellulite, it's not appropriate for your age, you should do some cardio, or you should go mother therapy or something like that. But she could return to herself through that, and she found a way of living and being who she really is.
So good.
Right?
Thank you for doing that. And
thank you for teaching me that.
And then telling the story so that it helps that person, but then other people will relate whether directly to that story, or I wonder what is for me. Yeah. Then I want people to hear that story and think, what about my flab? Or what about my arms? Yeah. Or what about my cheeks that are no longer like this? Or what do you think is going on there? I don't know the answers, but those are the right attitude. I wonder what this means in my life and who I am really. Yeah.
What I am trying to tell myself or tell to the world. It's very
beautiful. And the cellulite is free. it's not controlled by the muscle, right?
Yeah.
It moves independent
Yeah.
of what I'm wanting to do. That's gorgeous. Isn't that gorgeous?
And when we allow the cellulite to grow, how it would be if it could be itself. And I have this big Hawaiian butt, which is very like historically and traditionally, it was like very sexual symbol, right? This huge, beautiful hips and butts and everything. And she was like, oh, if it could be all by itself, it would be this.
Gorgeous.
Right.
Then we have her, the shame there, make the cellulite go away, and then make your Hawaiian sexual pleasurable body go away, and your interest in the sexual self, right?
Which
go
you didn't
away.
meet for your whole life
Right.
until now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, make that go away. Then things would be better. We never would find out that she's alive.
And who she is actually.
Yeah. And then you can see that problem in the culture, because if we take women and say this is what it's like to be sexual and it's for pleasing me and it's not for your own enjoyment and pleasure and things like that, but then we have a culture that banks on that. Isn't that good? But then we have a whole culture that lives and says, yeah, put that away, put that sexual energy away. And then if we're in an unshaming view, we think, and when they put it away, where is it going to go? It doesn't go away.
No.
Those are big energies. Those are powers that live. They're part of nature. You can't squish the bees and think everything's going to be okay. There's going to go the flowers and the broccoli and the cauliflower and the green peas. So it doesn't work like that. And same thing with us. You can say, put that away. Well, what's going to happen? It's going to become self-attack. It's going to become eating. It's going to become how I treat people. It's going to live. It's just not going to live in a way that people are going to understand it and see, and it's going to live in some other way, in the shadow. We say psychology, right? It lives in the shadows.
Beautiful. I think this is profound work which can save lives. I experienced it many times, that this not only changes but saves lives.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very thrilled that we are able to translate the book to Slovak language, and that we are printing it.
Thank you so much.
And I really wish for this book to become medicine for Slovak women and women. And thank you for your life's work and to making us believing in our true responses and truths which we are carrying. So it was lovely to have you here.
Thank you. I have to thank all the women who said, David, it's okay to tell my story, even though it's in a male voice, and that they didn't have the privileges to write a book, but I could bring their voices. It's their stories. It's not mine.
Perfect.
But then then I have to thank them because I ride their intelligence, that they gave to me and said, you can tell this. Anyway, I just have to honor the gift of them saying, tell my story, and you can, I want you to, and here it is, and here's the information. I don't use any of their real names. That was an agreement, but that's not the point. The point is that story, so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah.
And you can find the book, which is translated to Slovak language, on our website. We will put the link down below the video. And you can also find them in the bookstores, Martinus, Pantarej. And we'll be very happy if this book will get to your hands and could give you its medicine. So thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you.